You have failed yourself again, not because you are lazy, not because you are weak, but because nobody ever told you the truth about how the human brain actually works. Every self-help guru on the planet has sold you the same lie, that the people who succeed have more willpower, that discipline is a muscle you just need to flex harder, that if you just wake up earlier, try harder, push longer, you will finally become the person you have always wanted to be. But here is what the science has been whispering for decades and almost nobody is listening. Willpower is not a superpower. It is a battery, and yours drains by noon. A groundbreaking study from the American Psychological Association found that when people fail at their goals, they overwhelmingly blame a lack of self-control. But when researchers actually studied the daily lives of people who were considered highly disciplined, they discovered something that changed everything. These people did not use more willpower. They used almost none. Instead, they had quietly engineered their world so that the right choices required no effort at all. This is called environment design, and it is the single most underrated psychological tool on the planet. Think about the last time you grabbed your phone before even getting out of bed. You did not decide to do that. Your environment decided for you. The phone was there. The notification light was blinking. Your brain, still half asleep and running on pure instinct, reached out before your conscious mind even had a chance to speak. That is not a willpower failure. That is neuroscience. Your brain runs on something called the path of least resistance. It is wired, at a biological level, to take the easiest available action in any given moment. This is not a flaw. It kept your ancestors alive for millions of years by conserving energy. But in a modern world engineered by trillion-dollar companies to hijack those same instincts, it is quietly destroying your potential. Here is the brutal truth about your environment right now. If your desk is covered in clutter, your brain reads that as unfinished business. Every item your eyes land on fires a tiny cognitive alarm that says, deal with this, handle this, think about this. Before you have typed a single word of work, your mental energy is already being drained by the chaos around you. Researchers call this cognitive load, and a cluttered environment increases it dramatically, making focus feel almost impossible even when you desperately want it. Every phone notification you receive triggers a dopamine spike. A small reward signal fires in your brain that says, something new is happening, check it. And the devastating part is that you do not even have to look at your phone. Simply hearing it buzz or seeing it on your desk drops your cognitive performance by up to 20% according to a study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology. Your brain is already wondering what that notification says. Part of your attention has been stolen before you even touched the screen. You are not fighting laziness. You are fighting a world that was deliberately designed to pull you toward distraction. Now here is where everything changes. A research team studying habit formation discovered something extraordinary. When people made positive cues more visible in their environment, their habit follow-through increased by over 60%, not because they suddenly had more willpower, not because they became different people overnight, but simply because their environment started working for them instead of against them. James Clear, in his work on behavioral psychology, describes this as making good behaviors obvious and bad behaviors invisible. This is not motivation. This is not discipline. This is architecture, the architecture of your daily life. Let me show you exactly what this looks like in reality. Imagine two people who both want to read more books. Person A leaves their phone on the nightstand and their book buried somewhere on a shelf across the room. Person B puts their book on their pillow every morning and places their phone charger in another room entirely. Person A will scroll social media at night almost every single time, not because they are weak, but because the phone was the easiest available object. Person B will read almost every night, not because they are stronger, but because the book was right there and the phone was out of reach. Same desire, opposite environments, completely different results. This is the psychology of defaults. Whatever is easiest in your environment becomes your default behavior. Successful people do not beat their defaults through sheer force of will. They change their defaults by changing what is in front of them. Your phone on your desk is a default toward distraction. A bottle of water on your desk is a default toward hydration. Running shoes by the door are a default toward exercise. A laptop open to your work is a default toward productivity. These are not tricks. These are the actual mechanisms by which human behavior is shaped at a neurological level. The brain uses something called environmental cues to trigger behavior automatically. Neuroscientists call these cue routine reward loops. And the most important thing you will ever understand about yourself is this: you are not as in control of your behavior as you think you are. Your environment is quietly running most of the show. The moment you accept that, you stop blaming yourself, and you start redesigning your world. Here is your 3-part framework to start today. First, audit your environment like a detective, not a judge. Walk through your home or workspace and ask yourself this one question for every single object you see. Does this make the behavior I want easier, or does it make the behavior I want harder? Your phone charger next to your bed makes poor sleep easier. A journal on your desk makes self-reflection easier. A TV in your bedroom makes rest harder. You are not judging yourself. You are diagnosing your environment with cold, clinical honesty. Second, reduce the friction on what you want and increase the friction on what you do not want. This is the single most powerful lever in behavioral psychology. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit on the counter and put the junk food behind a cabinet door. Want to exercise in the morning? Sleep in your workout clothes. Want to stop scrolling at night? Put your phone in a different room and buy a cheap alarm clock instead. Every additional step between you and an unwanted behavior is a moment for your rational brain to catch up with your instincts. Make the good path smooth and the bad path rocky. Third, design your environment for the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. Most people design their environments unconsciously, based on habit and convenience. The person you want to be in 6 months needs a different physical world than the person you are right now. If you want to be someone who meditates, you need a meditation cushion in a visible corner, not stuffed in a closet. If you want to be someone who writes, you need a clean desk with a notebook always open. Your environment is not just a reflection of who you are. It is a daily instruction to your brain about who you should be. The most successful people in the world are not grinding harder than you. They are not meditating for 4 hours a day. They are not running on some mystical reserve of discipline that you were not born with. They have simply, quietly, methodically redesigned the spaces they live and work in so that the right behavior is the natural behavior. This is environmental psychology, and once you understand it, you will never look at your failures the same way again. You will stop asking what is wrong with me. You will start asking what is wrong with my environment. Because here is the deepest truth of all. You are not your worst habits. You are a product of the system you live inside, and systems can be redesigned. Every time you walked past the gym, every time you picked up your phone instead of your book, every time you ordered takeout instead of cooking, you were not failing. You were responding exactly as any human brain would respond to the cues that were available. You were doing what your environment told you to do. Now you get to tell your environment what to do instead. Start with one thing, just one. Move one object, remove one screen, place one cue somewhere visible, and watch how something that used to require tremendous effort suddenly starts to feel almost automatic. Because it will not be you fighting your brain anymore. It will be you and your brain finally moving in the same direction. Your willpower was never the problem. Your world was, and now you know exactly how to change it.